And good afternoon, Rando fans. We are back again here on the Go Mode Podcast Twitch channel with another race in the Challenge Cup. Up next is the deciding game in round one of the brackets between Timp and NilssonAlex. I am Cool Papa Bell, helping commentate for you today, and alongside me is Benny Burrito. How you doing?
Hey everyone.
So this
Looking forward to this.
Yeah, this should be a good one. I mean, game threes are always exciting. I believe Timp took the first game, and then there was a switch to Fast Ganon, and then we switched back just to game one settings for this one. So racers are off, finding some bombs and a big 20 in our two easy chests here.
Already we got that divergence. It's these divergences that make the game fun to watch. Already one's going straight to Kakariko and the other is going to the escape.
Yeah, Alex is going to go ahead with the Uncle check. Ooh, rewarded with 4 bombs out of the tree pole. That's always nice. I might have been tempted with those 3 bombs to just immediately save and quit to Sanctuary, because those bombs are really what you need going into Kakariko.
And money, though.
Yeah, a little bit of cash doesn't hurt. That's true.
If you're just tuning in and you're wondering, what is this? Why is there a plant and a weirder link? Ooh, nice sword find from NilssonAlex. If you're wondering why there's a piranha plant and link in this, a weird link, this is a randomizer, so this is a link to the past, but all the items are shuffled with a specific logic such that they can still complete the game.
And of course, while we're messing with the items, we might as well mess with the sprites too. So there are tons of options for what character you want to play as.
Yeah, Pikachu, Mega Man, Piranha Plant, all sorts of fun things to spice up the game.
Clippy for all of you Microsoft Office 95 fans out there. Pretty much whatever you're looking for.
I didn't know Clippy was in here. I gotta try Clippy next time.
Yeah, it's pretty good. So I guess we should talk about the race a little bit. I really like this move from Alex. Finding that sword in the secret passage is just going to go ahead and do front of escape. While you've walked all the way here, I think it's definitely worth these extra 3 checks going down all the way to Zelda's cell.
Absolutely, and these checks are some of the easiest to forget about. You just kind of always want to hit them before you forget.
Yeah, and a quick map check from Timp there. We have 3 regular crystals in the light world.
Gonna be that kind of a seed. Kind of simple. Also worthy of noting, Timp found a mushroom in the Lost Woods, so that could be interesting to route in later.
Yeah, it's a little annoying to do early in the game, but there's always the option of fake flippering from that whirlpool just south of Link's house. Also finding the magic powder there in Blind's hut.
The bottle and the cave.
All right, so lots of convenience items, but no real progression just yet.
While on Alex's side, we find nothing.
Went ahead and took a Death Warp. That might mean he's thinking about... yeah, he's going to go ahead and sequence break Dark Cross here. Sword makes it a lot easier to navigate in the dark, of course. So he'll try and grab this one more chest out of logic from his trip into Hyrule Castle.
While Timp finds the blue mail, the shovel, and $100. All the fetch quests.
Yeah, every fetch quest you could want. Gets 20% return on his investment there from the bottle vendor, but plenty of cash early on is good, so that you know you have Zora money if you ever find yourself in that part of the world. And it looks like Alex made it into the Dark Cross room. We'll see if he can find the chest here and if we can see what he grabs.
Can be the hardest part. Made it look easy. $20 in Dark Cross.
Sick Kid has our second sword for us. Probably safer if you hand that to the nice piranha plant.
Kids should not play with swords. Piranha plants totally have the responsibility to play with swords.
That's the first thing I think of when I think of piranha plants. Trustworthy.
Far, this seed's looking pretty safe and stacked for an early game. Blue mail, master sword.
Yeah, Timp is looking at sword and cape already, which makes him a little bit nervous about Aghanim, since just the lamp would be enough to put Aga 1 into logic now.
Alex is retracing all of Tim's steps. So he's probably going to do all the same things.
Yeah, we're definitely going to see our runners just kind of trade places here. And Alex, I think, will be happy to have those checks in front of Escape out of the way, but probably would be a little bit happier if he had sort of found something to reward him for that time invested.
Yeah, that's quite the investment when he went to the front of Escape and Dark Cross, but peace of mind. Sometimes you just can't put a value on peace of mind.
Yeah, and Tim's going to show us the first of our many fetch quests here, just 3 bombs.
Where to next, Timp? Where to next? Being the first chest. Never mind.
We've all heard the stories about people skipping Link's house and finding their go mode there, 2 hours into the seed.
I've actually not heard that story, but it sounds like a terrible bedtime story.
Yeah, it's to scare rando runners, not to skip checks.
I think my mom told me that when I was a kid. Yeah, Tim's going to hit up Escape, found his sword. Or no, did he go into the uncle yet?
Yeah, he did not go into the uncle either, so let's hope he hits that one on the way out. Might be a little bit of nerves on Timp's side, just a game 3 is always a little bit scary to come into.
Really like Alex's sprite. Is that like the Link's Awakening sprite, or which Link is that?
I'm not actually sure which one that one is.
Here is the progression. What do we need? We need the bow for Eastern. We need a book for Desert. Mirror for Hera. Lamp for Aga. We need a bunch of stuff to get places.
Yeah, it feels like we're probably going to have to get the lamp pretty soon, either to get us up to Death Mountain or do Aga 1. And South Shore seems like the biggest source of items that we haven't been to yet. Got 8 items down there between the Dam, Mini Moldorm Cave, and Ice Rod Cave, but of course might be in Eastern as well, as Alex takes his first look at the map and sees those 3 crystals.
Taking the Death Warp. Gonna check Dark Cross, I'm assuming.
Yeah, or he might be doing Uncle, and then heading over to Eastern Palace from here.
Interesting routing. Good routing.
So when Tim finishes Secret Passage and Alex finishes the race game here, our 2 runners will have pretty much exactly covered the same checks as each other.
There it is. Temp is 2 seconds behind Alex or so. maybe 5.
And not surprising that the dam is the next stop. So, question in chat about your fearless commentators. I am Cool Papa Bell 2282, and alongside me is Benny Burrito.
Actually, not next to each other, but
We are
talking with each
we
other.
are in spirit.
Yeah. Spiritual connection together.
Very excellent synchronization from our runners there. The Italian judge gives them a 9.5 for synchronization.
Taking a stone to the face from the Octorok. It's a little unfortunate because now Alex can't use his Master Sword beams. He can't use a B.
Everybody loves B strats. So both of our runners are sitting on a fair bit of cash, but so they could think about fake flippering and heading up into the Zora area. They don't have the Moon Pearl at this point, so they couldn't get into Waterfall Cave, so I might be a little bit hesitant to do that in their shoes.
Apparently, it's not in logic, right? Because they don't have the gloves.
Yeah, none of that is in logic. You might just think about it while you're here and have the cash, but it's also, yeah, a good option to just kind of follow the logic, which would probably lead them to Eastern Palace and the Sahasrarla's Closet next.
3 checks in the closet, 3 more in Eastern. Potential items. Rod Cave, what you got? Any bones?
The seed is happy to give you all sorts of items that don't actually open up anything.
Alex is gonna go do his dig spot. His blueberries from the dirt.
So shout outs to Amarith, who is restreaming for us today and investigated the Link sprite. I see that's Manga Link is the name of this sprite.
Manga Link. It's good. Thanks for looking that up.
Okay, so Sahasrarla's Closet has the lamp for us. That's probably the thing that our runners least wanted to find, because that points even harder toward Aghanim as our Dark World access. Probably not going to do that without the Moon Pearl at this point, at least until they have exhausted a few more checks here in the Light World.
As of right now, they don't have any of their items for getting Dark World access. No hammer, no gloves, no pearl.
Yeah, and that Aghanim portal is useless without the Moon Pearl, unless the Moon Pearl is on the pyramid, or I guess some other important item is there on the pyramid, so... One other slightly annoying bit of logic that lamp opens up for us is the seed could require you to walk all the way through the escape sequence to get to the 3 chests in the back of escape.
But did they find the key in the front of escape?
Oh, you're right, they didn't. So yeah, no way to get back there without a glove.
It's a check that could be forgotten about if they don't get a glove for a while.
So we're
Still
running out of checks real fast here.
items left to be found, but only two more logical checks.
Yeah, it's whatever we find in Eastern, Agina's Cave, and that's about it, right?
If so, it's in this big chest. Come on, let's give us something. Yeah.
Alright, so the lamp does put the vanilla big key chest in logic. So our runners will, of course, clear that out while they're in this dungeon. So that's our last chance to find anything over.
You know it's an item.
Yeah, so there will be one item left behind on Armos as well.
It's the bow. Keep your fingers crossed.
You can always hope.
Oh, another word that begins with a B. The bug net.
Wow, the seed is just throwing every mostly useless item at us. I assume the boomerangs are next.
I don't know, the bug net, I mean, if they're gonna go fight Aghanim, it's good to have the bug net.
Gotta go maximum swag on that Aga fight.
That's right.
Looks like Timp is gonna make the long walk to turn in this mushroom. The other option to do this early on in the seed is you can fake Flipper into the portal one screen south of Link's house and then just swim over to that that little landing pier, whatever you want to call it.
What do we got, Timp? What do we got? Ooh.
All right, Flippers are good. That will open up a number of checks for us.
Now we have Waterfall Cave. We have Zora. We have Zora's Ledge. We have the bomb. A little bit of progression, but we're still waiting for that something, that one thing to just blow this whole seed open.
Yeah, finding the Flippers right there has to make you a little bit more hopeful that you're not going to have to fight Aghanim today. Let's see, get a look at what's on the Hylia Island. Just more bombs.
Alex picked up a blue pot as well. While he's in the area, might as well.
Yeah, absolutely. He had just enough rupees to have the 500 left for Zora. Alex is showing us that whirlpool portal you can use to get through, get to the mushroom quickly if you want to fake Flipper on this screen where he's at right now.
Saves him a saving quit to get back here. Ooh.
Ooh, the flute is definitely a good find.
Now we're going up the mountain.
Yeah, with the lamp, we've got the old man in logic up there. No way to get all the way up to Hera or over to the east side, but that'll also make it easier to check out that one extra item in Agina's cave once we get this flute activated.
So interesting. If I was these runners, personally, I'd be thinking, okay, I have everything to do Aga. Should I just bite my lip and do it? but then the seed keeps slowly trickling out things that can help you do more stuff. What would you do in this situation?
Yeah, that's a good question. I'm thinking I would just keep following these breadcrumbs, and as soon as you find the moon pearl, that's when you sort of are resigned to Aga. That's my guess. So, like, if Moon Pearl was on Zora, I wouldn't even bother going to Agina's cave before Aghanim. Oh my gosh.
That book on Zora's Ledge really adds more leverage to checking Agina.
Yeah, it definitely does. So that's probably our next breadcrumb to follow, if I had to guess.
And after this, we'll find the mirror and desert, but no gloves, and we'll have to go up to Hera and do all these crystal dungeons twice.
Yeah, absolutely. So now the question is, do you do the Desert Palace trip before you go up the mountain?
Ooh. Honestly, I would do desert because I'm short-term memory and just be like, hey, I found a book. Let's go do that.
Yeah, I mean, we certainly cannot complete that dungeon where we are now. It might be boots locked, and most importantly, we don't have gloves, so we're not going to be able to get back to Landmo under any circumstances. And it looks like Timp is going to follow that book immediately, even before going to activate the flute.
It checks are down there. So there's 2 in desert, 1 on desert ledge, and 1 at Agina. So they might not be able to do all the get all 2 items in desert, but a good amount of stuff to do.
Yeah, there's 2 items guaranteed down here, and there's really only 2 on the mountain. So you might find more down in the desert area if you get lucky and can progress a little bit through the dungeon. And just ether on the desert ledge for us.
I don't know if we'll need that yet. Whereas Alex is going the Kakariko? Question mark?
Yeah, I think he's just going to activate the flute and then probably flute to either desert or the mountain. Oh, hook shot.
Ooh.
Oh, correct call from Timp there. Getting the hook shot before you go up the mountain is going to be fantastic. That opens up all of Paradox Cave and the light side of Death Mountain.
Is the way Alex took faster than going from Sanctuary?
I'm not sure that it is. I think Sanctuary is going to be a little bit faster. So, Alex playing the Swag Duck National Anthem there. So, the goose is loose. Honk. I gotta say, I think in Timp's shoes, I would just bail on this desert dip at this point. I would have left immediately on finding the...
You still might find gloves.
And there we go. Desert is absolutely boots locked at this point.
That's a rep. I think he's gonna go get the ether and get out of there.
Yeah, it's definitely the right call to grab that while you're here, I think. Just in case you wind up needing it before you have a reason to come back here. Nice old...
Yeah, so
Oh, go ahead.
Alex is making his Death Mountain climb, and he will need to come back after going to Agina to get his hook shot and come back and then do all the right side, east side.
Yeah, I was going to say the nice old man tipped Alex $5 for saving him from the dark cave. Oh, there's Mirror in Spectacle Rock Cave. So that will be our way up to Tower of Hera at this point. And with the fire source from the lamp, that will be full clearable for sure.
What would be crazy is if we find gloves in here. So then, yeah, this is where Rando starts to get interesting.
Yeah, and some really interesting divergence between the two runners that Alex is going to pretty much have to go to Hera because that's all he can do without the hookshot right now. But Timp will have pretty much all of Light Death Mountain open when he gets up there.
Those just tuning in, this is round 3 match between NilssonAlex and Timp. Open seed, 7-7, 7 crystals required. That is an awesome buddy sprite. 7 crystals required to get into Ganon's tower, and 7 crystals required to damage Ganon himself.
Yeah, we had a fast Ganon in Game 2, and then that got switched back to the regular Game 1 settings for Game 3. And yeah, we have a nice symmetric Dark World. The 2 red crystals are in the lower corners in Ice Palace and Misery Mire, and then pendants on Swamp, Pod, and Thieves Town, with the green pendant in Pod.
That's a pretty ugly layout for Dark World.
Yeah, I really hate Pendant Thieves Town, especially because that's the dungeon you can always get to right away once you get into Dark World. Ooh, Tim just missing that bomb jump to get out of Spectacle Rock Cave the fast way, unfortunately.
One to get. Tiles still do things if you turn on that option, but for a tournament, at least this tournament, they're disabled.
Okay, that baby piranha plant is adorable.
Oh my god. I want to take it home. Mail.
Find red mail just one dimension over from the big chest where it's supposed to be.
Yeah. Good observation.
Oh, unlucky from Alex there.
It's quite the fall.
Trolldorm absolutely living up to his name today.
What is impressive though is that like Link's like a cat, you know? He lands on his feet even though he fell 2 flights.
Yeah, you'd think that would hurt a lot more than it apparently does.
Oh, it didn't hurt him at all. When I was a kid, I used to think that Moldorm like just didn't shave, and that's why he looks like kind of hairy. Because it looks like, you know, Peach Fuzz. You know what I mean? I don't know if those are supposed to be legs or what. Oh,
Oh my goodness. So all that work for the Moon Pearl. So we will see if that leads Alex to head straight to Aghanim from there, because he's done up here on the mountain. But if he checks out Agina's cave, that will open up a lot more checks, and he could just come right back with that flute.
To be Alex. Man. Good man.
Yeah, you can never really blame a runner for making a couple of quick checks like this to try and avoid doing Aghanim. It's just such a time sink that to do it when you don't have to just feels really bad.
The Moon Pearl was French vanilla. Thank you, chat, for pointing that out. I didn't even think of that. You don't have to do the basement of Hera. That is always nice for everyone.
And after a little bit of divergence, our runners are back synced again. They will be headed over to the east side of Death Mountain at pretty much the same time. This has been a fairly linear seed so far in the light world.
I believe the only thing Timp has up on Alex is a compass in desert, and he did get the ether, whereas Alex will make that 3-second divergence later.
Yeah, and our runners are so close that I think literally the only other difference between what they've done is that Alex has done Dark Cross when Timp hasn't.
Ooh. A tempered sword. Dishing out the damage.
And once again, the seed is just willing to give us everything except Dark World access.
Power in, we're a third of the way there. A little slow.
And yep, with that Paradox Cave coming up empty, I think we're guaranteed Aghanim right now. We've still got Spiral Cave to check up here, but I'm trying to think of what could be in there that would prevent us from having to go to Aga next. I guess the bow, maybe? The boots? The boots. Okay, the boots could prevent us from doing Aga, but that's about it.
Hammer would do Spike Cave in logic.
Oh yeah, Amerith is right in chat there. Gloves would open up 3 more checks in Back of Escape. So that's also a possibility.
The boots would open up those bonk rocks.
Yeah, that would give us bonk rocks and a couple items in desert then.
Could just keep trickling these little things. Hammer would give magic bat as well. That won't give anything.
I mean, Red Cane is great, but comes up real late in the game, so here comes Aghanim.
There's still one item left in Eastern on Armos.
Yep, and our runners did check Ether. It was just like $20 or something useless.
Ghost Timp.
We'll see if he decides to do Dark Cross or just heads right upstairs to Aghanim. Once again, with Mirror, Dark Cross is going to be a relatively low amount of time loss, so yep, is going to go ahead and walk back there, as Alex will get the bad news about Desert Palace being boots locked.
Alex, now seeing that it is Boog's luck, decides the opposite to just go get the ether, and we'll probably dip out the egg after that.
So 35 minutes in, our runners are finally convinced that Aga is the play. Which you sort of, I guess, feel bad about how long it took you to get here, but at least they were finding items and sort of following the logic chain that they needed to the whole way down. They had to at least go as far as Moon Pearls, so not really much of a way to get to Aghanim faster than they did.
Once they cross over to the dark world, to the dark side, they have some of the best dungeons to do as pendants. Pod's a pendant, Swamp's a pendant, and Thieves Town's a pendant. That's rough.
Yeah, Pod in particular, I think, is going to be a really interesting choice for our runners because since they've got Hookshot, they can get across to West Dark World from the Aga portal. They actually need both flippers and Hookshot to sort of swim around a rock that you would normally have to pick up, which we can't do because we have no gloves. But yeah, the pendant pod dip is the other option for them coming right out of Aghanim.
Timp is having trouble with the maze. I think Alex just took a split-second lead. It means almost nothing in the terms of the larger race, but it's interesting to see.
Wow, absolutely synced coming out of that maze there.
Can't tell if the restreamer just duped the same thing twice and put it on each screen, or if these guys are just that good.
Yeah, I was gonna say, get your office "it's the same picture" memes in chat right now, please. Thank you.
Someone call Justin Timberlake because these guys are in sync.
I'd just like to distance myself from that joke. I'd like to give all the credit for that one to my co-commentator. That was all him, guys. Please don't throw tomatoes at me.
I'm taking full credit. That joke was genius. Genius.
Looks like 5 arrows are the stun prize. Tim Hookshot of the guard there. So, of course, in the Aga 1 fight, which normally is a huge source of RNG for NMG runs, that RNG is done ahead of time for the seed, so both of our runners will face the same number of blue balls. If anyone in chat wants to guess how many our runners are going to have to deal with today, feel free to do so. Everyone's second favorite guessing game for chat.
Bye, bye, bye.
There's one so far. Two blue balls. Ah.
3.
Marith has a bad habit of winning guessing games while restreaming. Seems very rigged to me. And yep, Marith
Big
take it with 3 blue balls.
Aghanim goes bye 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 bye.
So just $5 on the ledge, which our runners will leave behind.
That's vanilla red crystals.
Oh yeah, it is. Also,
Check
number
it
7
out.
ended up on Turtle Rock the way it's supposed to be. So
Oh,
all right, so Alex is opting for this pod dip. Hammer and Bolus Pod. Bolus Pod has gotten a lot less risky since V31, since there are 2 bows floating around, so you're more likely to find a bow there, especially if you're at the point where you're thinking about dipping Bolus Pod. And that's the barrier that we need flippers to swim around. We'll see if, yep, Timp will just jump in and then swim around to that hookshot location.
these are the kind of divergences we need.
Yeah, these are both very reasonable choices for our runners to make, but really just a coin toss of which way you're going to go here.
He does. You're right. He does. Alex has the blue pot that he could use if it's bow locked, which it isn't.
Yeah, we'll definitely want to keep close track of the key logic here in pod, coming in without the bow.
Think straight for the back.
Yeah, I think that makes sense. With the mirror, you can always get back to check the chest in the Stalfos basement pretty easily. But if you get stuck without a key that would have been in that chest, then it's going to be a little bit annoying to come back to Harmless Hellway. Oh,
Ooh.
Alex finding our first glove of the seed.
Ah. You know the pod logic pretty well.
Decently well. Without having seen exactly where the small keys are in the front, though, it's a little bit harder to interpret because we don't know if Alex passed up any small keys that the game's expecting him to have right now or not, or if there are 2 locked on the bow side. And here's the big downside of the way Alex routed that, is that he was back there by the big chest, but had not really exhausted the search possibilities for the big key at this point. Yeah, so that looks like there are 2 small keys on the right-hand
Oh.
side. Wow.
Timp just found the other gloves in Sea House.
There is our second glove over in the Village of Outcasts. So I believe that the glove in Palace of Darkness is bow-locked, logically speaking. I'm not 100% sure about that, though. So Alex showing off the potion glitch there. Potion camera unlock, its official name.
Determine the official name.
Or at least that's what the Racing Council documents always call it, so.
On Racing Council. You can't be more creative than that.
All right, right, so 2 small keys on the right side of pod. I think that means big key is in the vanilla location.
A lot of vanilla in this game. The seed.
So let's see, remind me, was there a small key in the Stalfos basement? There wasn't, right? Because then,
I don't remember.
yeah, because then theoretically you could have used the first key to get the second key on the bridge chest, used the second key to get the big key, and then you'd be out of small keys right now and couldn't get to the back. So this would not be possible to get to without getting through the right side somehow. So the game will not expect this to be in logic.
I didn't realize I was co-commentating with a scientist. Thank you for being here.
I'm doing my best. We should say though, both runners are feeling pretty good about their choice right now, having found a glove the direction that they've gone. So, logic or not, Alex will get to his mitts probably pretty soon, because at this point he is done in pod. And I suspect we'll just head right back into the Dark World portal at Hyrule Castle at this point. Oh, that's right, you can just save and quit back to the top of the pyramid.
Worth noting that Timp went into the front of Thieves Town, but then noped out after the first 4 tracks.
Yeah, again, that Pendant Thieves Town, that's a reasonable play to make. So we will see how that works out. Alex can also take the shorter trip to the hookshot location by using that glove and can check out Catfish on the way.
The most out-of-the-way tracks in the game.
So that's another argument for going to pod first, because you hope to find a glove there so that you can check Catfish as you're walking past it. Timp is going to have to do some serious backtracking to ever get back to this particular check. I like this move from Timp, though. This seed has been so stingy with progression items that just being very thorough in this Dark World trip, I think, is a good idea. Just a heart piece on the Bombos tablet.
Full heart on the quote-unquote Quake tablet.
So we will see what Hype Cave has for us. We still have the back of Thieves Town and the front of Skull Woods available to our runners. Oof, nothing in Hype Cave. Timp could have thought about the hammerless swamp dip there. The way this has been going, that's not completely crazy.
Dude, get in there with the without the hammer.
You can get one chest, because there's the first chest that's guaranteed to be a small key, and then it's I think the map chest in the vanilla game through the bombable wall in the next room is as far as you can get without the hammer.
How do you open it? Don't you need the hammer to open it in terms of the warp above it?
Oh, so Timp could have done it from just walking out of Hype Cave. But yeah, he can't get back there very easily right now since he mirrored back to the Light World.
Gotcha. Okay.
All right, right, so finally, almost an hour in, we're going to see the back of Escape now, with those gloves opening up these 3 checks for us. One of them is guaranteed to be the small key. I think we have found the map already, yes. So we should see 2 more items here in Back of Escape.
Interesting. So we have a bottle in the back of Escape, and we have a bottle on Bumper Ledge. There's 3 of the bottles.
So Alex is being very thorough with his checks, just sort of checking absolutely everything he can on the loop around Dark World. I think there's a good argument to be made for this after you do Aghanim, just because that portal is really inconvenient for getting to West Dark World if you don't have the hammer. So you just sort of want to check absolutely everything while you're here in the Dark World and not have to go through it too many times.
Absolutely. It is opting to go check Catfish. The so-called Quake tablet. It's like the same color as a tablet.
Yeah, you got to think that Pod will be next up on Tim's list after this. Since he's over in this part of the world, he can also save and quit to get back to the pyramid. Will be a little bit faster. Which, assuming he plays through Pod correctly, and probably will do that potion glitch since he's got a potion as well now out of the back of Escape, we'll be able to collect his mids. There's $50 as our first item in Skullwoods. And a bow. So Alex came into the front of Skullwoods knowing he could not complete the whole thing without the fire rod, but is rewarded with finding that bow, which now does put those gloves definitely in logic that he found over in Pod.
He's gonna be pretty pleased when he finds his mitts.
Yeah, absolutely. Let's see. We are still looking for
The boots.
Hammer, a couple of rods, the boots, maybe medallions, depending on what we're going to need to get into Mire and Turtle Rock today.
That's it. I think Pod had 1 check left.
Yeah, so just Helmasaur left, and I guess sort of 2 since Helma is holding the green pendant as well, so there's 1 more item on Sahasrara after that.
And if you finish Pod, you could just mirror, go ahead, finish Eastern, and then go turn in the green pendant. Like, it could be a pretty good route if you opt to do that.
Yeah, Tim's going to be sad that he's not going to find a bow here in Pods to be able to make that run while he's in the area, but the mitts will be a nice consolation prize.
Does Timp have a potion with a potion in the bottle?
Yeah, there was a potion in the back of Escape, so
Right. Okay.
All right, Alex making the same choice for the front of Thieves Town. And Timp is going to show us the potion glitch. Ooh, I hope Timp was far enough to the right when he drank that potion. Okay, good, he is. For those of you who haven't seen this before, the way the game is coded for strange reasons, the game doesn't actually check to see if these enemies are dead before it opens the door. It just checks to see if they are off screen. So you mess with the camera a little bit and then get the enemies off screen. The game says, oh, okay, I guess you can go through this door now.
Amazing how this game was coded such that it works like fairly well, you know, just when you play it, but then he's been able to figure out all these ways to break it over the years. When I say we, I mean society. I have not done any of it.
Yeah, it is a fairly robust game until you really start trying to screw things up, and then it goes real bad real quickly.
Alex can check Magic Bat as well, should he choose to. And then he can get back into Thieves Town pretty easily. Or Town of Outcasts or whatever. Outcast City.
Yeah, it's a little annoying because you have to walk back to the portal, but it's much better once you have mitts, since you're not really giving up your Dark World access. But is going to opt to just go ahead and do Purple Chest.
If we ever comp together, I'll just use a very high-pitched voice. Do Justin Timberlake impressions, since everyone seems to love those.
All right,
Find the myths.
There are the mitts for Timp. Yep. So that means he does have pretty quick access to that bow location. You have to expect he's not too excited to go back to Skull Woods until after he finds the fire rod, of course. Oh, Alex getting the boots out of Gary's lunchbox. That is a really big find. Obviously, going fast is always good, but especially because Desert is boots locked today, that is going to be a required item to finish this seed.
It's an amazing find.
And it's just crazy how rando works out like that sometimes. You know, you win the coin flip. Alex had had mitts when he was in that part of the world and could start up that Smith's chain, and finds those boots, a really key item for the rest of this seed. Meanwhile, Timp is going to take his shiny new mitts and go open up the Mire area. We'll get our first look at the medallion we're going to need to finish off Misery Mire.
Ether.
All right, so now that red cane will come in handy. That makes Mire full completable for Timp.
Finally, another crystal dungeon we can do. We're an hour in and we've done one.
Yeah, absolutely. And we're not even that close to any of them. We need Hammer for Ice Palace. We need Fire Rod for the other two. Um, so yeah, we could finish Eastern. Alex could finish Desert right now, but that's about it.
There is that hammer. That is going to be a sticking point in this seed, I believe.
There were some suggestions in chat that if it was in the back of Thieves Town, but
Anything's possible.
yeah, absolutely. And I think this minor play really makes sense for Alex since he's got the boots and can finish Desert while he's here. This is a really efficient choice that he can knock out these two crystals that he can do right now.
With Tim, I mean, might as well do checks that result in crystals as opposed to just going up the mountain, doing Dark Death Mountain and maybe ending up with nothing.
Yeah, I'm always torn about Dark Death Mountain because it is pretty fast for the 7 checks that you get, but yeah, in this case, crystal finishing a crystal is really tempting as well. I'm just going to throw this one out there before chat jumps on it. I feel like Hammer in Magic Bat is about the most evil thing that this game can do to you.
General, really? You think that's the worst?
It's pretty bad because you just hate doing Magic Bat by mirroring there since you can't get back into your Dark World portal then. Again, with Mitts, it's not so bad, but it's rough.
You can only get there with mitts.
Yeah, okay, I guess that's true. I don't know. I still hate it.
It's fair.
At least we know Hammer can't be on Ped since it is required to beat Pod, so no
Swamp.
pedestal worries. Oh, and Ice Palace. Oh no, sorry, Ice is a crystal. Never mind.
Ice Rod could be on the pedestal.
Ooh, that would be a fun one. See, I
You
feel like
guys-
pedestal is not quite as evil as anyone thinks it is, because at least the game will tell you what's on there if you find.
Hey, what's the saying? Like a tomato in one hand and a bucket in the other, or something like that? I'm saying.
I have no idea what you're talking about right now.
Things are bad. Some things people think are really bad. It really depends on the person. Tomato, potato, tomato.
Okay, I kind of got you there.
Thank you for saving me and showing some understanding.
Ooh, Fire Rod in the Misery Mire Big Chest. That's actually a really good find for Tim because that will probably lead him back to Skull Woods sooner rather than later. So he's going to get that bow fairly soon. Ooh, very convenient time for that heart piece to fill up Tim's health as well.
The Magic Cape Tempered Sword. It'll be interesting to see those strats for Vitreous.
Yeah, the cape in this game is one of those things that's not coded so well, because if you just slash your sword like a wild person while the cape is on, it barely drains any magic, so you can just sort of turn it on and stand in the middle of the eyeballs and go crazy.
Same thing with if you turn the cape on and then just grab a wall, doesn't it not drain the magic at all?
Yes, that's also correct.
Hammer is not on Torch in the desert because that was already checked. I think that was a small key. But it could be on Lamola's.
So both of our runners approaching the Vitreous fight here, but again, both having that cape safety. Alex can also use the dash strats where you just sort of turn on the cape and dash back and forth into the eyeballs, which works pretty darn well.
Fortunately, I don't think we're going to see any bomb strats today.
Alex, I think, turned on the cape a little bit early there, unfortunately. So ran through his magic pretty fast, but did some damage to soften up those eyeballs, and we'll just switch to the bow there to finish them off.
Oh, what a dodge.
Wow, the jukes out of that eyeball.
Little Sammy eyeball. It's got moves.
If you can dodge a wrench, you can dodge an arrow or something.
See, that makes sense. Thank you. Papa Bell is the more sensical commentator today.
So Tim showed us the mash the sword button with cape on strats there. I want to have a...
Alex,
Oh, go ahead.
good. Alex is checking Checkerboard Cave, and then we'll probably do Desert.
Yeah, I was just going to say, I want to have a talk with the Link to the Past devs about why they gave Vitreous' second phase as much health as they did. Just seems excessive.
Got quite a... It does seem excessive.
Okay, so
Where you going?
yeah, here's the big question coming up for Timp. He is back in the Skullwoods Village of Outcasts area of the world. So the question will be if he does the Smith's Chain while he's here. I would think that answer is yes, because about the only other thing that could tempt him away from it would be that Death Mountain trip or Hammerless Ice Palace, which is not going to sound very tempting at this point in the seed. Luckily, Skullwoods routes pretty well the way Tim did it, so he will just head straight back to Mothula right after this and collect his third crystal as Alex is running back toward Landmos.
It is good routing. That works out very nicely. And then he could check pedestal if he wanted.
Yeah, rule out that terrible ice rod possibility that you suggested.
Right.
So wall kicks, welcome. Asking how the scene's been so far. It was an incredibly linear but slow light world. It's about 35 minutes in before our runners finally got funneled into doing AGA 1. And yeah, that hammer is proving to be quite elusive so far.
With the ped check, here we go.
Is that Bombos? Or is that 10 bombs?
I don't know.
We talked about Ice Rod, but my secret hope was that the Turtle Rock medallion was on the pedestal there. But yeah, Chattergreen, that's 10 bombs, so...
Okay.
And there is Alex's third crystal with that nice Fire Rod Landmo fight. Burning through those pretty quickly. Oh yeah, I think you're right, Amerith. It's like a swirly coin or something like that is what the Bombos text is. Oh, okay. Burning Ring of Fire. That sounds good.
Alex is going straight to Eastern. So he seems to not be up. Oh, he couldn't finish pot without the hammer. Never mind. Armos does have one more check, one more item for certain.
Yeah, we have seen both items out of Skullwoods. There was also 50 rupees in a chest in there, so... So Timp is walking out of Skull Woods, which suggests he's headed back to the village to do that Smith's Chain.
It's terrific
Yeah, very good news for
for
Timp.
his sake.
Although I think in this spot, it might have been a little bit faster to do the ped check after Skull Woods, and then just flute back to Kakariko and go through the Dark World portal again. But probably only a couple of seconds difference.
Yeah, those little time saves can add up.
Yeah, especially when your opponent has boots. Your opponent has boots and you don't. You gotta save seconds anywhere you can.
Armos Knights fold for Alex like a bunch of lawn chairs. Getting crystal number 4.
Yeah, and about an hour after we said, oh, 3 Light World crystals, those will be easy to get, we finally get the last one.
Oh, yeah. I don't think I've been right about one thing this whole seed so far. So don't take my words for anything.
Ooh, Timp's gonna show us Magic Bat. I like it. This makes a lot of sense for him since he has already done the other South Dark World stuff like K45. He's gonna want a flute to open the purple chest anyway.
Ooh. At this point will not do much good for the runners.
We're going to get our first look at the boots checks up along the north side of the light world also, King's Tomb and Bonk Rocks.
Timp, how do you feel right now? You could have had those boots, well, logically, not for terribly long. Actually, yeah, logically for pretty long.
Yeah, I think those sword slashes are a good indication of how he feels about that location. Oh, did we see a lumberjack check early on? I don't think we did.
I thought Timp checked it, but I don't think it was anything.
Okay, so taking stock again, our runners are pretty much caught up to each other item-wise. Alex does have the advantage of a crystal up on Timp, but would not be surprised to see Timp go collect a couple of those crystals right now. And yep, he is going to head back to Desert as Alex is going to head up to Death Mountain. But since the seed feels like it's really going to come down to who's going to find the hammer first, you got to give the edge to Alex since he has done a little bit of that crystal cleanup and is just in hammer hunt mode at this point.
Like always, it's not over till it's over.
Yeah, so Alex not going back to Skullwoods. He has already found both items out of there. So while Mothula does have a crystal, that's all that Skullwoods has left for him at this point.
For Bunny Cave, not showing up with much.
Alex hopefully will show us the medallion we need to get into Turtle Rock as well, which will be pretty key for this seed if that's another item we have to hunt for, or if it's just going to be Ether again.
Found the Ring of Fire.
Yeah, now I'm going to lay odds that Bombos gets us into Turtle Rock because that key gets left under the mat pretty darn often. Or just Ether.
Can't open it without a hammer.
So, yep, Dark Death Mountain coming up pretty darn empty. And it's looking like Pendant Dungeons.
What does he have left? He can't do Helma without hammer.
Yep, we got just the first chest of Swamp. and then yeah, everything in here that we can get to without the hammer. So, which will be everything but cold stairs, since we have the hook shot to get us to the right side in case we need it. Yes, chat corrected me. I'm being silly. That hammer locks those two chests on the right-hand side, since there's a switch behind them that opens up, two switches behind the hammer that opens up the big key chest and one chest that appears in that room. Right, and back of Thieves Town as well, which chat was definitely calling for after both of our runners dipped the front four and then left.
Now the runners are 4-4 with crystals. And 20 in.
Yeah, very tight race here. Timp's about to be a crystal ahead, but we'll definitely be behind some checks on that hammer hunt. So yeah, no guarantees that anything will be found here in Ice Palace, but you have to expect that Timp will go up and make all those empty checks on Dark Death Mountain after this.
Oh, Alex has been having trouble with that bomb jump. And then makes it and then fell in the hole. That's rough.
Yeah, I absolutely hate that when you finally get that bomb jump and then the game just doesn't cooperate with you. Is going to go ahead and hit the switch, do this more of the intended way. Is saved a little bit by having the red cane, so you can use that to hit the switch to get into Cold Stairs' room if you happen to find the hammer down here.
The hardest stuff to do in this game is to stay focused the longer you play. And when mistakes like that happen, you gotta keep a clear head.
Yeah, the mental is so important because you get to this point in the seed and you're just like, where's the stupid hammer? And then you're thinking about that all the time, and then the execution, there's the stinking hammer.
And then you find it and then you stop thinking about it. Still need the ice rod.
Yep, it is down to the ice rod hunt.
Fortunately, that door is locked.
Ooh, Timp is making the right play here. Is not going to go to Dark Death Mountain. Is instead going to dip into Ice Palace, and will be right behind Alex in finding this hammer.
Gonna save a lot of time. potion pickup before entering here was also smart. Makes you don't have to worry about magic so much when you come to Cold Stare. Because he doesn't have bombos.
Yeah, so Alex did save magic with that Bombos to have plenty of Fire Rod shots to Cold Stare down quickly. It's rewarded with the Cane of Burna. But I think is leaving behind one item in Ice Palace, if I'm not mistaken. And
Alex, do you feel behind having found that hammer at like an hour 20 in?
yeah, it's hard to imagine that not making you feel behind, but the way this seed has been going, he might have a good sense that his opponent has been equally struggling, because this has been a rough one. And so the next question is, where do you go with that hammer? Do you just bet on Ice Rod being somewhere in Turtle Rock, or do you keep searching? I mean, I guess a swamp dip doesn't sound particularly appealing at this point, but that is decently likely to have that Ice Rod somewhere.
Finish Pod, you could finish Thieves Town. Um, I don't know.
Certainly he's going to check Pedestal while he's here to make sure the Ice Rod is not there. And he's got some time to think while he's headed back toward Mothula, because this is sort of a no-brainer play to finish the Moth off right now.
This hammer is found. Emerith clarifying in chat that Alex did leave one item behind in Ice Palace.
And I mean, it's a cliche, because commentator says this every time it turns into an Ice Rod hunt. This Ice Rod can be literally anywhere in the game except Trinex and Ganon's Tower at this point. So it is wide open for where our runners are going to find that thing.
Oh, Tim found the silvers.
Well, we know what that item in Ice Palace was.
It's gonna be really helpful for Ganon.
And unfortunately, Tim is going to go ahead and full clear. He's going to find all of this stuff on the right side, which we know is going to be just garbage. Keys and the compass, I believe.
Alex even bother to check the pedestal? Looks like he's gunning straight for TR.
You know what? You got to commit to your plays. If you're betting that Ice Rod is in TR, go all in on it.
Yeah, absolutely. You could always try and do that portal save.
So we will see what Turtle Rock has for us. I believe 4 items in Turtle Rock, plus the one that you can pick up on Mimic Cave on the way to the back.
There's one down. Correct. 5 in Turtle Rock and 1 in Mimic Cave. So there are 6 total checks in this whole dungeon area.
So Timp did not quite get that spin on the Cold Stare Puffs as they came out of the shell, but is holding on to his potion so far down to the last puff. Red Mail definitely helping out here and gets through the fight.
Brutal. Cold Stare is like the first real damaging boss in the game.
Yeah, and Rando makes you do some awful Cold Stare fights sometimes. A lot tougher than you have to do in a normal speed run of the game.
And you don't like attacking Cold Stare without the sword and just using a hammer?
Yeah, Hammer Cold Stare is not my friend.
For those of you tuning in, this is game 3 between NilssonAlex92 and Timp. Timp took the first one, Alex took the second one, and here we are for the third. This has just been a regular old open seed, 7-7. Nothing crazy.
Okay, and our runners have made their choices. Timp is opting for some more overworld checks. Is going to do the big red bomb from the looks of things. Now that he's got the hammer, that opens up. Well, now that he's finished Ice Palace, that opened up our big red bomb at the shop, and we have an easy path to get to the pyramid since we have defeated Aghanim 1, which Timp is unfortunately not thinking about right now.
Whoever finds Ice Rod first is going to have an enormous advantage, because they're going to completely different spots to look for it.
Yeah, this is absolutely serious route divergence from our 2 runners.
Often. To next, Timp.
Tim also seems to be making the choice to head up Death Mountain. He has not been to Dark Death Mountain yet, so this makes sense for him to go check out Hookshot Cave and things. We'll see if he opts to just jump into Turtle Rock after those checks. I gotta say, I think he's probably strongly considering doing Turtle Rock, because if you were just gonna do Hookshot Cave and Super Bunny and then leave, you probably would have done that before the Pyramid Ferry. So Tim checking first that he does have that medallion, and Alex is down to just Laser Bridge, where that ice rod might be.
many items are left on that? I haven't been counting. At least like four or three?
We've got a small key and I think 3 items. Yeah, because he's got both dungeon items there, so the back of Turtle Rock is loaded today.
Use of the hook shot to avoid damage. Ooh.
Yeah, it takes a couple shots at those laser skips and then switches to the Cane of Burna. A little bit more magic light than the cape is, so...
That's it? Is this it? What do we got? No. And a few slashes to show how much he's happy about that.
Let's see, is not going out the safety door there to place a portal at that particular spot. I'm trying to think if it even has any checks left that... Ah, okay, mirror's back there. Just thinking about quite how to route this, I think. I'm honestly not sure what checks he has left that he could really even save that portal at. Let's see, I mean, I guess you could... Because if you die in the dark overworld, you can save your portal. So he could check the back of Thieves Town and Hammer Pegs, I believe, and still save that portal on the Laser Bridge safety door. But did not leave that one. That's definitely a hard thing to think about in the moment when it's a mechanic that comes up so rarely, even in Randomizer.
That's a tough one, but it could save a good amount of time. It's looking like a spike play.
Okay, Wall Kicks in chat is correcting me. Saving the portal is not possible anyway because if you die or save and quit in the Dark World, the game's just going to put you back on top of the pyramid. So with Aga 1 dead, you can't really save the portal unless you're checking things in the Light World, so... And I really don't think our runners have any Light World checks left to even
Can't
head
think
to in
of any.
desperation.
Hey, Alex, where are you going?
So this looks like a big bomb check from Alex as well. Or he might head into Swamp at this point also. Possibly both while he's in the area.
Start with the bomb and see where things take them. So Swamp gets a lot of flack. But when you think about it, it's probably the coolest dungeon. Checks. It's full of water. It's kind of fun. It's like a water park.
I think the problem is that everybody just has bad memories of every water dungeon in a Zelda game ever, so Swamp sort of gets lumped in with those.
And Ocarina of Time really did a number on the water dungeon rep.
Yeah, it absolutely did.
This is the coolest dungeon? I hope you're speaking literally, because if so, that's kind of funny. But if you're serious that you think ice is actual fun, Man, you're nuts.
So it looks like Alex is now looking at those couple of overworld checks opened up by the hammer. He can chain together hammer pegs and the magic bat, which he has not done yet, and then head into Thieves Town for those items left in the back if the overworld checks do not pan out.
Good routing choice. If you find Ice Rod in the back of Thieves Town, you're gonna feel pretty bad because that could have been there the whole time, and your opponent may have already done it. Little do you know, we know both of them didn't.
Yeah, there's a certain point where you notice that your opponent isn't done yet and just figure, well, I guess they skipped this too, and then you just hope that you got back to it before they did. Ooh, skipping out on Thieves Town is going to head back towards Swamp.
Also skipping Magic Bat, as you pointed out, because Alex never did it. Ice Rod hunt, chat. Just to see what Timp does now.
Yeah, he's pretty much got the same option that Alex does. A little bit less value in Village of Outcasts since he has already done the Magic Bat, but does have that choice between any of our pendant dungeons, really. Since there are 2 items left behind Helmosaur with 1 actual item and the green pendant turn in as well. I think I like the move to skip Spike Cave. It's really easy to get baited into that check because you sort of think, oh, I'm already on Death Mountain, I should do it while I'm here. But with the flute, you're really always close to Spike Cave, so you just kind of have to judge how long it takes you to run up the mountain and mirror and get in there and all of that sort of thing.
I always want Spike Cave to be like the source of progression, but it's only happened in maybe 1 or 2 seeds I've ever seen. Bums me out.
Yeah, I saw a seed where it had a lamp the other day, so that was interesting. And seems like the epitome of the Ice Rod hunt here. One of our runners has gone to Pendant Swamp, the other to Pendant Thieves Town, and we will see who comes out ahead. So far, Alex has found 2 heart containers, but no ice rods.
Just a quick recap of the race. This race started off super linear. I mean, they were following the smallest of breadcrumbs to try to find progression, but eventually they had to beat Aga, and then they diverged to find where to go next. It's just been slow going the whole way.
Oh, there it is.
Oh, that's a find. I think the race is now Timp's to lose.
Absolutely. That is such a huge advantage. 1:45:25. He finds the ice rod, hits go mode, and is going to immediately flute back up to the mountain and dive into Turtle Rock. Alex is playing this Swamp Palace trip correctly, I think. Not doing left side check yet. Can grab the big chest when he heads back in for left side after this, but unfortunately that just turned out to be the wrong play for this particular seed.
Yeah, I mean, he's going to be behind on the ice rod. He doesn't have silvers, whereas Timp does. It's a pretty steep uphill battle at this point. Not impossible. Pretty steep. The bright side, he has found a lot of love in Swamp Palace. And with Valentine's Day approaching in less than a month, it's good.
So Timp just has to run straight back through the rest of Turtle Rock, which is turns out a lot easier once you have all the keys and everything. Timp stopping just a second to load up on health with magic powder.
Powder is such a great safety. I mean, I don't think that could be understated, overstated. Powder's really good. Seed's gone on for almost 2 hours. What a battle.
Yeah, just the logic of this seed has been pretty ridiculous. The hook shot in Agina's cave, which led you to, I guess that didn't even lead to anything in the light world. But the mirror in Spectacle Rock Cave that was to get you to the top of Death Mountain. Just a lot of things in kind of weird, out of the way places that took our runners a bit to get to.
Because we found the book in Eastern, right? And then in Desert, we found nothing. We knew it was Bootslock, but then we found the hookshot in Nagina's, as you said. And then the mirror to get in the... It's just... double dipping almost every dungeon.
Yeah, and were the flippers in that first Eastern Palace dip? I forget where we found those.
I think those were found either... Moon Pearl was at Hera, but were the flippers there too? Flippers were the mushroom, that's right. And Book was on Zora Ledge. Thank you, Tracker. Give it up for Siberian, our tracker, keeping us honest. I'm just commentating and I feel fatigued. I don't want to imagine how these guys feel.
Yeah, and we see Alex is now making the choice to flute over to 5, head back into pod, and get those 2 items behind Helmasaur with the green pendant turn in as well. Just not wanting to head right back to the Village of Outcasts after he just left it.
That hurts. If he goes back to watch this and just thinks about his decision, like, you were right there, you did the pegs, but then you left.
Yeah, that's why Ice Rod hunts are just so brutal, because it's, again, literally anywhere, and you just have no clue as to where it might actually be, so... but yes, Timp is, through that Trinex fight, has all 7 crystals in hand and is on his way to Ganon's Tower, which means it's time for everyone's favorite, the Ganon's Tower Big Key guessing game. So get those guesses in chat, as our restreamer Marith has started the bot to record your guesses out of the 22 possible locations where that Ganon's Tower Big Key might be.
Honestly, with how this seed's been going, I'm gonna have to give it, like, I know it's at a 22, but I'm still gonna say like 24 because I feel like somehow it's gonna happen.
Right.
You have a guess?
I usually go 9, which I see our restreamer has stolen from me this time around. So I'll take.
He got the one
I'll take
earlier.
12.
Remember? He got the blue balls, so maybe
Right.
you should get 9 and he should get 12.
No, I'll take 12. I'm sticking with it.
I'm gonna real talk put in 6 because it hasn't been chosen yet.
Checks 1 and 2 are small keys. Number 3 on the torch is another small key. And number 7 has the
7.
big key for us today.
Anyone get that? I don't think anyone got that this time.
So it seems like you're the closest then with your 6 guess.
Or obscure life form. Congratulations. Actually didn't put one in checks, I forgot to. So good job, obscure life form. Way to go.
Your prize today is some very important points on the Go Mode podcast leaderboard. And Timp is now on the climb, about to enter into the gauntlet. We'll see if he stops and takes a quick break in the safety room. I think still has a fairy in a bottle, so might feel content with that one, as well as the potion that he picked up earlier before heading into Ice Palace.
Has anyone gotten a boomerang yet?
He has 0 boomerangs somehow.
Oh.
So this is a good moment as we watch Tim climbing through the gauntlet to thank our restreamer, Amarith, and our tracker for today, Siberian. Their hard work makes these broadcasts possible to put together, so be sure to give them a follow, and of course give both of our runners a follow as well. They're willing to put up with terrible seeds like this one for your entertainment, so gotta show them some love. And since we are on the Go Mode Podcast Twitch channel, be sure to check out that podcast for all of your rando talk, tutorials, news updates, lots of great stuff about this game that we all love so much, despite it being mean to us just about every time we play it.
It most is.
So 3 silver arrows into land mode 2. Tim is through the worst part of the Ganon's tower climb. Hope I did not just jinx him there with a little commentator curse.
There's been a lot of that today, so I'm trying to keep my mouth shut about anything. Hey, Alex, go to swap. It's a great play. Sorry.
Yeah, that's why randomizer just drives you crazy. I mean, you follow the numbers and you get burnt because Ice Rod is somewhere else. You decide to make a gamble and then you should have followed the numbers. Some days it
Yeah.
just feels like you can't win, but
I know it's a rough life, but we'd love to hate it.
and Tip has just enough magic left for those fire rod shots. Not even bothering to check the chests. Can't really blame him for that one. With Tempered Silverless on the docket for Ganon, not really too worried about finding the Butter Sword, although it does speed things up a little bit, but probably not worth the time to check those last couple of chests.
This bomb conveyor belt room is like the gauntlet of the tower. It can be so difficult to get that wall broken open sometimes.
We'll see how many rage slashes and angry bombs we get out of Alex finding the ice rod here.
Third favorite game is guessing the number of slashes. Alex is now in go mode at an hour and 56 in.
Meanwhile, I think the hardest part of this gauntlet is that room that Tim just got through very nicely there. I hate those stinking bumpers down at the bottom.
That room is a beast with all the ice and everything. A triple legit?
Yeah, I'm not sure if all 3 of those counted, but they definitely all hit. Aga being pretty mean with the blue balls in this fight. And then that energy ball just disappeared. I'm not sure I've seen that happen before.
I guess it just despawned, which is weird. Pretty good fight on Timp's side.
Yeah, absolutely. Aga 2 is down, and we are just on to fighting the Big Pig Ganon.
Thank you, chat, for clarifying. So that first triple was not a triple; it was a double. And then it was because Ega got knocked into the wall, and the orb was out of bounds, so it just vanished when it spawned. It's got the big brains. We of little brain just flap our mouths.
Yeah, I just say what I see on the screen. Shiny ball, go away.
Yeah.
Timp is into phase 2 of the Ganon fight. Using the hookshot strats for the iframes to dodge those fireballs. These Ganon warps are also coded into the seed, at least the first time you visit Ganon, so those are the same for both runners in a race.
It's one
and now
hit.
to the last phase, 1 arrow down.
Two. Okay, 4 gets a double. Get your GGs in chat for Timp, the piranha plant that could.
And that is an official SRL time of 2 hours and 10 seconds for that monstrous seed. Congrats to Timp for coming out ahead in this race.
That was brutal, you guys.
Yeah, that was absolutely a rough seed. And we do have both of our runners in chat to discuss that one. GG's to both of you.
Hey, GG, thank you.
How you guys feeling?
Tired.
I feel pretty good because I did happen to win that one, but definitely exhausted for sure. Yeah.
Uh, that was a seed I wouldn't wish on my worst enemies, to be quite honest with you.
Was it really that bad? I can honestly, I can never tell when I'm playing it unless it's something like very, very egregious. Obviously, there was some stuff that was not too fun to have to do in there. You know, I last location to Aga 1 essentially, which I pretty much did last time to in game 2. After that, I mean, you know, it was obviously tough to find things. Nobody likes an ice rod go mode. But I mean, it was in-game time wise at least sub 2, and I'll never complain about one of those, you know.
Right. You guys' execution was pretty on par.
Thank you. Yeah, I felt generally pretty good about this one for the most part. There's always little things here and there, but yeah.
Alex, aside from the ice rod, how are you feeling?
I felt good. I felt like I was doing really good, except for going to Ag a little bit later than I normally would do. But I felt like I was playing good execution. Like I had a really bad execution in game 2, but somehow managed to win. But so I was focusing on the execution part, and the routing decisions I took was pretty spot on, I would say, except skipping back of Thieves Town that I normally do, even though it's a pendant, and even though we didn't have the hammer. I normally do pendant Thieves really early, but I felt like since we were missing so many items that I had to do something different in this one, since it is game 3, so you need to do something different.
Yeah, you guys were definitely synced up at several points in that race. I mean, you both went to Aga at about the same time. There were a couple rooms in Aga Tower where you were literally right next to each other.
I think when you both went to T-Rock without the ice rod, and I think, Alex, you were in the lead when you left, but then you went to Peg Cave and then opted to go to Swamp, and that's where things started to switch around.
Yeah, I mean, we have, like, if you think about the most dense location with items, Swamp Palace is to play. And I mean, it could just have been in left side Swamp, it could have been on the green pendant of Pod, and it could, of course, be in the back of Thieves Town, which it was, but it's just one of those, like, you need to take a gamble when you're looking for an ice rod. And when I was going through Thieves Town, I was like, oh, come on, you just let it be on pedestal at this point. Like, that was, I knew Tim would have been in Thieves Town at that point.
That was my main fear, is, you know, that was available pretty early, and there was, I think, only one item in the front of Thieves Town this time. So I was like, man, if he went, if he did any more of Thieves Town and got that ice rod and then went up to TR with that, his first time up there, then I'm definitely behind.
Just, it was one of those seeds, like, if you didn't do what the other guy did, you would feel behind. And when you reach the point of like 1 hour 30 minutes and nobody had finished, you start to think, what have he done that I haven't done? So it's a lot of stuff like that goes through your mind.
I think you left an item in the front of, or in ice, right,
I
Alex?
sure did. I was.
What was your?
No, I got the hammer in the what is the left side of Ice Palace, like before you drop down to the boss.
Yeah.
And all that stuff. So I was like, yeah. So I was just like, there's nothing in here because you need the hammer. And I was dead sure that there was nothing. And then they got the second item on Cold Stare, and I was like, well, it's going to be something fresh in the other chest. And I guess I bailed out on that chest.
Ended up being the silver arrows.
Oh, well, cool.
Yeah, honestly, at that point, I think I had killed everything where it mattered, obviously, except for Ganon. But it was just like, oh, well, that's nice.
Yeah, so Tim, when you chose to go to Thieves Town, were you sort of thinking that you wanted to take a gamble for the Ice Rod hunt, or was it just kind of routing in the Hammer Pegs and Magic Bat? What went into your thought process there?
Yeah, it was definitely a routing thing, just because I knew I wanted to finish the overworld chest, and I think Hammer Pegs was literally the only one I had left. And then I was like, well, I'm here, so, and there's 3 items, which, obviously Swamp has 6, and I had a couple other, dungeons I could have continued to clean up, like I think Pod, and that could have given me Green Pendant too. But yeah, it was mainly just a proximity thing to head up there, and I just once again got really lucky with that decision. I was also, I'd be interested to hear, Alex, your experiences with going into Ice Palace without the hammer, because as I was doing it, I considered that a pretty big gamble. I knew I could finish it, but I was worried about having that jam me up in some way.
At that point, like I did Mire, I did all the other checks you could do, and it was at that point we got the fire rod somewhere. I don't remember where it was, but at that point, literally for me, it was just literally Ice Palace left to do. So I felt like going in there, it has to be the hammer, because otherwise I don't know where I missed it. So I was like, either there's something here, or I'm just like, at that point, if the hammer wasn't there, I would forfeit at that point, because I had no idea where it could be. I was so lost.
Okay, I gotcha.
Yeah, to let you know, Tim, Alex went into Pod right away after doing Aghanim, so had mitts when he got the gloves out of the Village of Outcasts, and so found the boots actually a fair bit earlier than you did, and so had like cleared out Desert Palace and that sort of stuff at that point in the seed.
Gotcha.
How many divergences there were. You guys really still found a way to come back together multiple times during this race.
Yeah, I'll be interested definitely to watch this one back, especially if you're saying there were a lot of sinks in the early game. I always get a kick out of that.
I've learned something from Agaseeds when you don't have a lot of items. Like when you're going in Dark World, always do Pod. Even if you don't have a bow or a hammer, just go and do it. Because especially if it's a pendant Pod, there's always something after Aghanim. Because I've been burned so many times.
Speaking of Aga, my face was red when I was going through there and I got to that dark maze area and I just completely forgot how to do it for a second. More like 30 seconds maybe, just like wandering around trying to find that key in that chest over to the west side. My face, I could feel my face getting hot. I was like, I feel like such an idiot right now.
Reminded me of like being a kid and trying to solve mazes. I was like, oh.
It was like my first time playing it, yeah.
Well, what's cool is because you spent so long doing that, Alex caught up to you, and that's when we got some of the best syncs of the game. So,
Oh, okay, there. All right.
good job.
Yeah, sure. I'll take it.
No, but seriously, I had issues in that place as well. In that dark maze when you get your key in Aga Tower, because I went the wrong way to the locked door. So I was like, how do I route this maze thing now? No, but honestly, I don't have really much more to say, more than, of course, GG's to Timp. It's been a fun series to play against you, and I hope you knock next opponent out. So, GG's.
Well, thank you. Yeah, GG to you too. I've really enjoyed this too. I feel like we're really close in like skill and routing, kind of sort of on the same wavelength and level there. So it's really been fun. I honestly had no idea how this was going to shake out, and I'm pleased with the way it went. But yeah, really enjoyed these races. So GG to you too.
And of course to the trackers and commentators and the restreamer. Thanks to you guys for putting us on the restream, and have a great rest of your day, I guess.
Yeah, thanks to you guys. Absolutely, commentators, trackers, restreamers, all you folks. Really appreciate you putting on the effort to bring this to folks, and it's always a treat when you're given the opportunity to go back and kind of in real time compare what you did and hear some thoughts on it and read chat. It's invaluable, and can't thank you guys enough for being able to provide that opportunity.
Well,
Good
yeah,
to do it, gentlemen.
yeah, absolutely. We had fun. So thanks for putting on a show for us.
Everyone in chat, be certain to follow our runners. They are stand-up guys, and they just finished a pretty tough seed. With that, I think that's all we got. So thank you, everyone, for watching the Go Mode podcast today. Anything else?
That's about all I got too. Stay tuned here for more great Challenge Cup races. Check out those discords that our restreamer Amerith is throwing into chat. A great way to get connected with the podcast and with the link to the past randomizer community. So thanks everybody for watching.
Marith, are there any more races tonight that you want to point out? Or the no in chat or in the Discord. I'm not certain if there are.
One more race scheduled for today. I don't know if we'll get a restream on it because it's my race, so. So we'll see. It's in a couple hours here. If we get something together, it might be here, it might be on ZSR, but if there is one.
Excellent.
Cool. Well, there you go, guys. Stay in touch. We'll see you all around. Bye.
Absolutely.
Thanks.
Have a great night.
Bye.